I'm going to make $10 million or more in my life. When I make that, I will still say that approaching a girl in a bar is significantly harder than anything I do with wealth creation. 100%.
Really quick, I just want to apologize for the sound. I didn't choose the right microphone, so I sound like a potato because it's through the MacBook. I'll do better next time. In this interview, we talk about his YouTube channel, we talk about real estate, even a little bit of pickup, and ultimately what it takes to be successful no matter what you choose. I really enjoy this conversation. I think we think alike in a lot of ways, and hopefully you learn something. That's it. Enjoy the interview.
Your guys' videos, like I feel like you guys are doing a huge public service. Could you just give us a little, just tell us what you do on your channel and how you found yourself in that space?
Yeah, I tell you, it's actually really nice to have positive feedback, even though sometimes it comes a lot and you just get used to it. But there are
Yeah.
times when you question, like, am I really doing the right thing? Am I really putting the right things out there? Because as you can imagine, actually, okay, let me backtrack.
Yep.
So on YouTube, I started this series called Authentic or Charlatan. At the time, this was roughly October of 2019. I was noticing that a lot of real estate investors, young real estate investors, were getting so much advice. There's just so much advice out there. You know, everyone with a little bit of a platform loves to give advice. And there's one thing that I absolutely hate in this world, and that is generic advice given to people that it doesn't fit. Instead of asking questions about what they're looking for, they just blabber on about, here's just the advice I give to you. And so I wanted to start a series where I basically taught the audience in a way through a series of videos on how can you analyze gurus? How can you analyze people that give out advice? Is it good for you? Is it the right advice? Are they credible in what they're saying? And so my first episode was on Dan Lok, where all I wanted to do was look at a behind the scenes look into these guys' businesses, all these social media gurus, these people with millions of followers. All I wanted to do was look into their backstory, what kind of businesses they ran. You know, they put themselves out there as a business guru. And I just wanted to see, are they for real? And it turns out that a lot of people like this content. And so I kept making it.
Yeah, just recently I was looking at your stats, like it was a huge up spike. Like people are definitely finding the charlatans and then finding you to like counteract that, which is great.
100%. Yeah, CoffeeZilla is growing much faster than me too. His channel's blowing up.
That's true, but he was on YouTube with the other really successful channel, and you're kind of brand new in this like criticism part of YouTube.
Yeah, 100%. Now he
Yeah.
influenced me 100%. So back in November, what started this series was actually coming across a video. I remember it very vividly. It was a night where I didn't have anything going on. I was just doing the whole YouTube scroll down, what catches my eye. And there was a video about Dan Lok he did, and he used the term fake guru in the title. And I'm going, huh, that's catchy. Fake guru,
Yeah, yeah.
catchy thumbnail. And I was like, you know what? I'd never watched this content. Little did I know that it would be such a life-changing moment, because when I watched it, I went, oh, all those weird feelings I had about some of these gurus, maybe they aren't as real as they thought. But I wanted to be very fair. I didn't want to go in with any preconceived notions. And that's when I started to look into these gurus. And it happened that he was my first subject, of course, due to the influence from CoffeeZilla.
I think it's so cool, like how you guys are kind of doing the same public service, but your voices are pretty different. Because when I watch CoffeeZilla, I kind of just want to eat popcorn. It's like, you know, we're gonna get a good beat down. But when I watch you, like I want to take notes because you really break it down in such an eloquent way, and you're like, it's like very understandable and it makes sense. But a lot of people like don't know these tactics they're using, and you just make it really digestible. So like, what's your background in like psychology and marketing and all that?
I'm really glad that you understand that, because our channels are actually very different. And there was a comment recently on one of my videos. It's like, I used to think you just copied CoffeeZilla. So we actually aren't friends. I've reached out to him, and we have really no communication. I like the guy. I watch all of his videos, but we aren't like behind the scenes dictating anything. You know what I mean? It's two totally different channels. His videos are amazing at exposing, and he is ruthless about using words that I generally don't like to use.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
he comes at people for sure.
yeah,
It's not a strategy I generally like
yeah.
for my channel, but for him, it's 100%. It's like when he releases a video, it's like, uh-oh, who's in trouble now? But mine, to answer your question, I think it all started back in 2012, the summer of 2012. Are you familiar with the pickup community online, like the pickup artists?
I am actually, and
Right, because you have yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, okay, that was kind of an answer or a question I knew the answer to. Okay,
yeah,
well, back then I got back into the pickup community, and in the book The Game, the popular book The Game, there was a part about Neil Strauss basically going around and learning from all these people. And it was a very new concept to me. This, like, for whatever reason, it hit me just right. It was like, go learn different things from different people. And then he talks about how he loved to read all these books. And for some reason, it hit me. It's like the idea of skill acquisition, that you can go out and read specific books, understand them, learn, and become a different person. And so around that time, I actually had access to the library pass at Georgia Southern University, where I was. And so I could print as many papers as I could. And I downloaded about 30 different ebooks, all in psychology, all about women and dating. It was that whole arena, right? You want to, all the typical books you hear about when you want to get better with women. And so that's kind of where it started. And around then, I started to read these psychology books. And you know how it works when you read a book and you kind of go out and you feel a little smarter. You can notice things in conversation. So ever since then, there was just a natural love for reading, and not so much reading to read like a fiction book, but more of when I read a book, I can absolutely learn something. And so I think that's where it started. Now, you asked about marketing and sales. I have had 2 sales jobs, but sales is very, very broad. You're selling yourself to me. Maybe there's something you want to get out of me. So this whole interview is, you're going to be selling yourself. There's maybe later today, you might be selling yourself in another way to someone else, selling yourself to a new job or a new career. And then, or you could have over the phone sales. So there's many different sales jobs. I've only had 2. But I think marketing and sales comes down to psychology, which I definitely don't have a background in. I hope no one views me as an expert. I simply read books, and then I can take the information and apply it to a YouTube video and make it entertaining. And so I'm glad that people find it entertaining. But I would definitely not label me as an expert, for sure.
I feel like the people that are the best teachers at something are the people that naturally didn't have it, because they had to kind of really work really hard to get it. So it's funny, because I guess, like, I found pickup too, because I wasn't good with girls, but pickup wasn't like, that was what it started as, but that definitely opened my eyes to exactly what you're saying, that if I could improve getting good at girls, like one of the hardest things in the world to me, that means I could get better at essentially everything. And like, I feel like people look down, or the general public looks down on the pickup community for that. But it's like, no, this is like, it's spread to every industry now. Like, this is such a huge industry. And it was kind of, I think pickup was like one of the earliest things to pick up on that. I guess, like, were you not good at girls initially, or?
I'm going to make $10 million or more in my life. Could be more, could be less. I don't know when I'll stop.
Yeah.
When I make that, I will still say that approaching a girl in a bar is significantly harder than anything I do with wealth creation. 100%. There's nothing more difficult, especially if it's a girl that you're like, okay, I know something about her and I know I like her, right? Like, she has the looks, and then also she has interests or whatever, it's just like, I want her. And so your question, I forgot, what was your question? Was I not good at girls? Okay. So in college, I had a few girls I really liked. There were probably maybe 3 or 4 little flings, like the whole college fling. You talk for a couple of weeks, maybe you might sleep with them once or twice, or maybe not at all. And it just seemed that I just couldn't get over that hump where I would attract them and maybe get a date, or maybe I would get a second date. And there was always that disconnect that you can probably relate to. When there's girls, it's almost like this foreign concept, and there's a bridge that exists, and you don't know where the bridge exists. Like, how do I understand this concept? I don't understand it. And so that's what you find the pickup community. It's like, oh my God, it's like opening up the gates of prosperity. Basically, it's like, I finally understand it. It's like I had some success. I played college baseball for my first year and a half, and so I was kind of the typical, like, reasonably athletic, decent looking, pretty in shape kind of guys. That I was reasonably confident because of baseball. I wasn't that confident around girls, but in college, you can get alcohol and you can get drunk and then turn into the confident version of yourself. So that was most of it. But there's always that disconnect. So with the pickup community, it's like, for me, it's like, I'm playing within this system, and I'm kind of getting results, but I don't understand how it works. So for me, it's like, I need to see the blueprint.
Dude, yeah, you're so far ahead of where I was. I'm probably way better at this than you, even though I'm way worse. But just like the amount of improvement I had to see before I got any results was like a lot. I think.
Did you find it in college?
Yeah, towards like the beginning of college, but I never really tried it until like a little bit towards the end of college. And I remember the first time I ever like cold approached a girl in the club, like just grabbing her shoulder.
Sober.
Like, but I felt effed up in the head, like just all that energy and anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
But just turning around and saying hi, and she was receptive to it, like that was like a superpower moment. I was like,
It's the best feeling in the world. That first smile you get, it's like
such a high.
You can't explain it.
Yeah, and it's like, whoa, like I've been alive for 18 years and I didn't know you could even do that. Like,
yeah, and then you say something silly and she laughs, or you just kind of stumble over your words and she still like laughs and so where are you from? And you're like, oh wait a second, she's interested.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like,
does not compute.
Literally does. Even today, like I realize, like, and I get mad. I'm a little frustrated at how now I perceive girls are shallow, because I think my personality was always pretty good. I was likable, but to get that attraction, it was like I had to get in a lot better shape, but then like passively gain all these things where, I say the same shit, but they're just a lot more receptive now, because it's like, I don't know, they already like me.
Girls can sense it, man. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
when you get in this community and you start really studying women, you understand that how insanely good they are at the most minute details of behavior.
Yeah, I guess guys are just like, we are pretty, like, we're like a brick sometimes. Like, we just don't see stuff or understand.
Yeah, pretty much.
I feel like we could talk a long time about that. But I want to ask you, so one of my favorite videos, so in my channel, like, I'm kind of rebranding myself. I used to do a lot of movie reviews, but I always like storytelling, and ultimately I want to help people. Like, I wanted to tell stories because I want to help people grow empathy and just like find happiness in their life. And one of my favorite videos of yours is the one where you talk about Gary Vaynerchuk. And do you know which one I'm talking about?
Survivorship Bias.
Yes, Survivorship Bias. And you talk about like what it takes. Well, why don't you just tell us a little bit about that video?
That one was a little tricky to make because I wanted to tell a story. I love filmmaking. I love storytelling. And what's hard for YouTube is sometimes you have a story, but you don't know if you'll get the full attention. And so sometimes stories need a minute and a half of build up to understand the context. You want to put the audience within this is my frame of thinking. And so that one was tough because I needed a build up of a story. And I think people clicked on it about Gary Vaynerchuk. And then the first 30 seconds is about some guy from the World War II. It's like, what am I watching? And so that video was mostly, I want to tell a story about survivorship bias. And I felt like the ethos that Gary Vaynerchuk relies upon, at least at the time of the making of the video, most of it is this concept of hard work and hustle. And I felt like it created a nice dichotomy between Gary Vaynerchuk and this whole class of entrepreneurs that exist on social media that loves to claim hustle. You know who it is, the people with 36 hashtags on each post about hustling and building my dream. And I work 80 hours not to work 40 and all this stuff. And it's all about hustle. And the point of the video is simply survivorship bias is a concept where we mistake the people that get through some process and we view them as the one way to make it. So the best example is a business guru who gets up on stage and preaches vagueness about working hard and you just got to find your passion. And that might have worked for them. But what you don't notice is the 99 people who literally used that same advice and didn't succeed. You need to look at those people just as much as those who succeed, because you may find that those people have the actual clues to getting past whatever that barrier is. And within this context is business success, but this can be applied to any thought, any industry, any concept.
I had a corporate job for a while and I made pretty good money. And then I quit my job to pursue exactly what I wanted to pursue. And now I work twice as hard, probably 3 times as hard for half the amount of money. Now I can articulate better. It's just like certain things in the current world we're in, they just aren't valued monetarily as much as certain other things that you're passionate about. And I never felt like you really have control over that, like what you're really drawn towards. And some things, like some people are just built to make money. So what's the key to success then if it's not hard work?
Okay, so here's the point I made with the video.
Yeah.
It's like, in order to succeed at anything, hard work is mandatory.
Yes.
But the point I was trying to get across in the video, or at least one of the many points, is simply you can work hard. Like, let's say I wanted to be a janitor. I could be the hardest working janitor in the world. I could work 80 hours a week, nonstop, 5-star review, and make $10 an hour. But if we're talking about business success or financial success, wealth creation, that's not the only thing. You need to find not only something you love, you might need to find something you love, but you have to find something that works. In order to have business success and make money, you have to find something that makes you money. And that's more important than this ethos of running around and telling people to work hard. You can spend 80 hours working on an Instagram business and get nowhere. Wrong product market fit, wrong time of the year. You know, it could be any number of reasons. There's 1,000 variables that go into success or failure. But if you're going to work hard, I think in order to achieve success, you have to do it in some area that's going to lead you to that. And there's so many proven business models that you need to first find something that works for you, and then you work hard at it. So for instance, for me with YouTube works. If you make good videos and you find a niche that isn't that competitive and there's a lot of people that want to watch, then you can succeed, and you absolutely have to work hard at it. But if I were to make YouTube videos about Thomas the Tank Engine and no one gave a crap about them, I could be the hardest working person, but I'm not going to succeed.
The craziest thing about YouTube is like, it seems like people are interested in everything, because there are the channels dedicated to like Thomas the Tank Engine that somehow have like half.
Dude, I got linked to another video the other day. Get this.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a guess at how many subscribers this channel has. It's a marble company, little marbles. They do marble races. Literally, it's a series. There was like a circuit, you know, where the marbles race each other and they keep track of who wins.
Yeah.
Guess how many subscribers that channel has?
A million.
Yeah, it was like 1.2 million.
Are you serious?
When I was looking in the comments, it was like everyone kept track. You know, they clearly kept track of this series of marbles racing. 1.2 million subscribers.
Honestly, you describing it to me, I can see it. I kind of want to check it out.
Real creative, great use for the brand. The channel is the brand, I guess, the marble brand. I didn't look too much into it. It was just, it blew my mind. It's like, oh my God, this is such a creative way to grow a brand. It's to come up with something entertaining.
They sell marbles.
That's it. Yeah, it's the marble brand.
That's genius. Yeah.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Crazy. And the crazy thing is there's probably, I mean, there definitely is still like a million ideas like that out there.
Yeah, that haven't been tapped right now.
Yeah. I think you found your niche for now. I'm sure maybe that might evolve. Did you do the research before you got into it, or do you feel like you just kind of
purely luck, man? And that's also part of like this whole movement on social media. Some people find success in 2 years. Some people takes 30. The guy who started McDonald's, Ray Kroc, he founded it like 50 or 60 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, he was working, he was average, and he started McDonald's, one of the biggest brands in the world.
Yeah.
Right. So luck and timing is so important. There's so many variables that go into succeeding. Yeah. I just think it's way more important than people realize. And so to really answer your question, it was more of, yeah, I put in the work for 5 years, but I just kind of stumbled on it. You know, what if I don't click on that CoffeeZilla video? Maybe I don't have success. So for me, it was just a matter of things kind of working out. You know, I made a video, people seemed to like it. And then I kept going from there. I guess the learning lesson from there though, is when you're small, the benefit of being small is you can try a lot of things and see what sticks, because there's no repercussions. Like now that I've got 33,000 or whatever, I mean, I could surely try new videos, but if I put out a video about a new diet plan, it just wouldn't, all the new people to my channel would be like, wait, what am I subscribed to? You know, but when you're small, maybe you try that and you find that people resonate with your voice and you can switch easily.
That's like something I tell myself all the time. Like before I have any success, whether it's screenwriting or YouTube or anything I'm doing, like the silver lining is that nobody gives a shit. I can do whatever I want. And I tell myself
relieving
all the time. It's relieving, but it's like, well, you know, it'd still be nice if like a bunch of people like something and chose it for me. You know, like I'm
100%.
ready. Yeah, I'm ready to stop.
No, there's pros and cons to everything for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you, I feel pressure now, and I'm small. I mean, I can't imagine once you get to 100, 250, 300,000 subscribers, you know, there's pressure. What if I put out a video and people don't like it? What if people misinterpret it? You know, I criticize a lot. What happens if it's taken the wrong way and I get sued? You know, that kind of stuff can happen.
You're on a safer field than CoffeeZilla though, because you're very careful with words.
I met with my lawyer the other day, actually, because I got threatened.
No.
Yeah, threatened with a little lawsuit, little legal action.
Being in that space it seems like you're just on a fine balancing board the whole time.
Definitely, it can be a ticking time bomb because of how egotistical some of these people are and how insane. Like the insaneness that they'll go to maintain their image, because everything they built, a lot of these fake gurus, is built on a shaky foundation. And so and deep down they know that, right? So once it's unveiled, the foundation goes, so they're going to have to hold that ideal that, you know, a million people have, that they're this business leader, that they're this Amazon expert, or that they can make you all this money. Because once you start exposing it, oh, there goes their business. And so they're going to protect it. And that's what you're going to get, right? The feedback to this is going to be an energy, right? You put on an energy just saying, hey, I don't think they're running their business ethically. The energy that you get in return is someone who's defensive. And when you are criticizing someone's business, right, their method of making money, and you're putting it out there that they're not doing things ethically, you're going to get retaliation for sure. And it's easy to silence people. And these people make so much money that it's easy to threaten lawsuits.
Do you think like this industry as a whole of these courses are like inherently unethical just because like they can only really make money if they kind of are blowing up their claims of how much success their students can get? Is there an ethical way of being really successful in this space?
Yes, this is a great question. And guess what? I got a great answer for you.
Okay, ready.
Think about it like this. 20 years ago, right? Picture we're early 2000s, kind of before the internet a little bit. The people who wrote books and the people who kind of created this type of course and training, they had 20 to 30 years experience, and they were so successful in their business and so busy that they had people constantly, hey, I'd love to get mentored by you, asking the same questions. And so as a service to them, they spent money investing into a book where they could give 20 to 30 years of knowledge into a book where, hey, just, I'm not able to meet with you for coffee, but spend 15 bucks and you got this book of 30 years of knowledge, right? You think about all the important works, the books that me and you probably enjoy reading. We're talking about experts in their fields, 20 to 30 years of experience, education, intelligent people, experts. But what we have now is, so to finish that thought, basically you have these people experts and they use that as just a little side income. Let me put my experience into a course to help people. Now, with the scalability of the internet, we have an environment where these people can have success for 3 months, or they don't even need success at all. They just need to know who to hire off Fiverr.com, or maybe they have a connection that can actually do the actual course material. You spend a few grand to build a course. And now you can, if you have any idea how to run pretty successful Facebook ads and create a sales funnel, ClickFunnels does most of that for you. You can create $1 million business, $1 million business selling courses. Really think about that. Think of what it took. Take out the courses and these internet gurus. How difficult is it to make $500,000 a year?
It's
high-end doctors, successful business people, people like tenured investors, tenured professors at the highest degree, Stanford, Harvard, at the top end of the spectrum, to make $500,000 a year. And Kevin David makes that on YouTube, copying content. $500,000 a year.
It seems like the answer is no. Because
sorry, I go on tangents whenever you're asking good questions. So the answer is so here's the thing, like Graham Stephan is successful at what he does, and he's like, oh, by the way, I have a course. That's the ethically way to do it, because courses were never meant to be your sole income. Your sole income is the business you're teaching. The sole income is because you're a real estate investor or because you're a real estate agent making $500,000 a year, and then you just make a course, and that, if people want to ask you for coffee, just say, hey, I don't have time, but I've got a course where you can learn everything from me. And so that's the ethical way to do it. Yeah. The reason why it's unethical is because these people aren't experts at what they're teaching, and so they have to manipulate you into purchasing because the product itself is not high enough quality. I mean, have you ever seen Ferrari desperate to sell you, hey, we only have so many Ferraris coming out, we only have so many Ferraris that we can sell today. There's only 3 Ferraris. No, because the product is, they don't need to. They don't even advertise.
There's boxes like Samantha just bought it in Kentucky.
Oh my gosh.
Bought it in Florida.
Yeah. No. Funny enough, you could criticize that Ferrari and Lamborghini actually do have like limitations on how much they sell, but it's true, right? They only make 100 models. There is only 100. There's no complaining. There's only 100, right? It's not fake.
I think the problem is that like the way social media has like kind of brainwashed us. All these people are young, and like what you said, like it takes like 20 years to achieve expertise at something. So in that sense, I think it's never going to be ethical because you're selling this image that is just fundamentally not possible. How can you be smart enough to teach somebody something when you are 25 or 30 years old? Like that just doesn't make sense. But
yeah, you've only been doing this in one economic cycle.
Yeah. How long is an economic cycle? What do you mean?
Well, 10
Like,
years or so from recession to recession, right?
gotcha.
So, I mean, I'm not an expert at this by any means, but
Yeah,
if you look at the cycles, right, you go through kind of ups and downs. Well, we've been on, especially in real estate, we've been on a 10-year run where everyone wins in an up market. That's
yeah,
just how it works. How do you handle turmoil? How do you handle when there's a health pandemic? How do you handle when there's the '08 financial crisis, right? A bunch of people lost their money,
yeah.
right? You need to go through these economic cycles and then come out alive and then tell me you did it. That's where you become a real guru, is because you've handled it when times are good, when times are rough, and when times are uncertain. When you can handle it through all those economic cycles, then I know you're for real.
Yeah, it's that survivorship bias again. It's like people who are really good at rolling dice, but not even craps, just rolling dice, and they're trying to teach us how to roll dice.
So
Just
think about it like this. We have a group of 100 people that are come to a class I put on, right? 100 people, statistics say that 1% is going to succeed. So inevitably, just because there's 100 people, there's enough people, 1% will succeed. One of the people in that room will succeed no matter what, just statistically speaking. Now, does that mean they have talent? Does that mean they did everything right? Was it luck or timing? Was it something they said? Was it the algorithm plan? You know what I mean? There's so many factors that go into success that you can't simply label it as one variable. So anyway, to further that point, basically what you have is you have a few people that were part of the small percent of people that succeeded. Let's call it Amazon FBA, right? Out of the 1,000 people that tried, you're going to have 4 succeed and make 200 grand a year or whatever. And so some of those did it in 6 months and they think they're experts.
I
But maybe it worked out for a little bit. Who's to say that they were gonna do it for a long time, right? That's why they turned to course selling, because course selling is way easier.
I tried drop shipping, and
A little harder than they make it seem, isn't it?
yeah, you know what? It's just you're building a business from scratch. It's literally like the hardest. You're building a business. Like, how is that possibly an easy way to make money? It's the hardest way to make money. And I did buy a course actually, but just for $100 because the person whose course I bought it from was the only person that was telling us that this is going to be hard. And once he like said that, I trusted him, and it was $100 as opposed to like the other dudes like
Oh yeah. Well, see, the
right.
reason why very little of my content is actually criticizing courses is the
Yeah,
course itself is generally fine.
yeah.
Courses are going to be a little vague. They got to be a little more macro level. They can't go too micro. And so the course itself is rarely the problem. And that's why I rarely talk about the price. To me, the price is irrelevant. If the course is able, so I did a boot camp, a coding boot camp, Hack Reactor, cost me 20 grand. But the course was incredible and it gets everyone new careers and raises and improves their salary and all that. So like, I don't even look at the price tag because the results speak for themselves.
Yeah.
The reason why I focus so much on marketing is because so many people are manipulated and unethically persuaded into buying courses that they are not built for, are not a good candidate for. And that's where I have the biggest problem.
So you're saying that if they were marketing to the people that could actually succeed in the courses, that would be better.
Much more ethical. Exactly. So there's a principle called disqualification, right? Like let's say I'm creating a product and I believe it's going to be really challenging. I say, look, this is going to take 60 hours a week of your time. If you do not have 60 hours to devote to this product or this course, please do not join. That's a disqualifier because if you do not have 60 hours, I don't want you joining because it's not fair to you. You're going to be spending money and not be able to succeed. But there's none of this. With wholesale and real estate, there's never with Dean Graziosi, the way he sells it, he's all about, there's no disqualifiers. Basically, the marketing they use and the advertisements they use make it such that it applies to everyone. It's easy. You're going to make a bunch of, I mean, even if you don't succeed, you might make 5 or 10 grand a month. It's not that hard. You don't need any skills. You don't need any sales ability. You don't need any startup capital. It's like that applies to everyone, but not everyone is built to go through the course and succeed in that area of business. And that's like one of my biggest issues.
But then how are they going to make $500,000 a year? Then they might only make like $250,000 a year. And isn't that
They
sad?
won't make any. This is part of the problem. If they all had to use ethical marketing, I can guarantee you that their bottom line would basically go to zero, because the reason why their courses are so expensive is because it's very expensive to acquire a customer, which is why they have to do the unethical things they do and charge so much for the course. I can guarantee you that if they had to do things in an ethical manner that it is subjective, to be fair. So it would be through my lens of ethical whatever, however I want to characterize that. But I would bet all my money that their revenue would be 5% of what it is now.
Have
Yeah.
you seen the ads? And I'm not going to name any names, but of I mean, these companies are pumping out new ads, and like there's so many different creatives, and it's so like interesting watching how they're evolving. It like has a mind of its own. But now there's the Amazon like turnkey FBA thing that they're just saying like literally you pay us money and we create a business for you, and you don't have to do literally anything. Like they're not even trying to hide the fact that you might have to do some work potentially.
It's sad, man. The problem is there's no regulatory body. I'm a licensed agent in Ohio for real estate. I cannot say these things. I can't, I just can't, right? Because there's like I would get fined.
Yeah.
In the food industry, billions are spent regulating to make sure that companies, if they put something on the, 100% organic, you better have it 100% organic, proven by science, or helps with weight loss. That better be proven, right? Billions are spent because there's a regulatory. If you got to pull the product, or you might face lawsuits if it's not accurate. But then you look at these internet marketers, and in real estate investing, if I go to you and I say, hey man, look, I've got an investment, you give me $100,000, I can guarantee 15%. I can't do that. I cannot do that. That is against the rules. And so I'm held to a different standard because there's repercussions to my behaviors. But when there's no repercussions, I can go, look, man, you give me $100,000, I can guarantee you I'll pay you $20,000 back. Comes out that I only pay you $6,000. Okay. What, you're going to slap my wrist, take me to jail? So that's why this behavior can exist. And it's sad. It's so sad.
That's why like what you and CoffeeZilla do, I think, is so important, because nobody is watching out for these people that ultimately they just prey on poor people that are trying to like get more money, or people like in bad situations, and they're literally just giving away their money. And it's
You
like,
nailed it. So yeah, if you look at the marketing they use, they are preying on the vulnerable. And it's unfortunate. This has nothing to do with intelligence. But if you think about it, let's say, we don't have to get too personal, but think about like a relationship you had. Maybe there was a girl you liked, you really liked her, and maybe she cheated on you or something. In that moment, at the day after you found out, right, you're pretty bummed. So I don't care how tough you are. You're lying in bed, you're sad and depressed. You're going to be so much more open to certain wording, to certain marketing tactics, right? If you turn on the TV and someone's like, hey, ever been cheated on? Oh, I know how you feel. At one time I was lying in my bed crying and sad, and I didn't think there was another girl out there for me, but look at me now with like 4 paid models. I never have to deal with that anymore, right? You could be the smartest, sharpest dude, but you're going to listen because at that moment you are vulnerable. And that's what they do is there's a lot of people that are struggling financially, and they basically use tactics that speaks to those groups of people. And at that moment, that message speaks to them, and it gets them to buy products that they shouldn't be buying. Actually, hold on. Just so you know, by the way, if you had to guess, out of all the people who buy the course,
okay,
how many would you guess finish the course?
probably not very high is my guess.
Yeah. Now, I don't have any specific data, but I have a few people who have told me that very few people who are even buy the course even finish the course. Pretty sad, isn't it?
It's super sad. And then like the sellers have an excuse. It's like, well, you didn't even finish the course. So
You didn't work hard. You didn't apply the principle. And then they do the refund policies where it's the tricky, within 14 days, and you have to do 40% of the course. And there's one, by the way, I was listening to someone recently. It's something like you have to complete more than 30% of the course, but not 40%. And you had to have a certain amount of post history in the Facebook group. I mean, it's like jumping through hoops to get the refund.
Wow, yeah. I think it's really important you noted it's not just like poor or uneducated people. It's like once I lost my like main source of income, like I was primed. And even though I never like bit the bullet on anything that was too scammy, I sat in on some webinars for sure. And they like, you break it down in your videos. They just go through your every doubt. And me, I think a semi articulate and smart individual, like I was like along for the ride. It's like some type of hypnosis too. It's only at the end when you see the price tag that you start to like come out of it like, oh, well, like now I got to think. But up until that point, it's like, oh, this makes perfect sense.
A lot of people criticize, I wouldn't say a lot of people, it's a vocal minority, but I do receive criticism. And what I don't think people realize is the power of selling.
What criticism?
Criticism in comments. People call me a fraud.
No.
People. Oh well, whenever I ask, they don't have an answer, obviously.
Oh,
But
okay.
people also comment on I should mind my own business, or I don't have the success he has, so I'm just a hater.
Oh,
This kind
okay.
of stuff. People also, like to comment on why do I care so much, or why don't I mind my own business.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
reason why is because sales and marketing can be so powerful in the wrong hands. I mean, dude, let me tell you, if you went out to a store tonight and a hot girl with cleavage walked up to you, if you're a single dude, she could almost get you to do anything. Not saying she could, but you're going to be
yeah.
so
No, I
easily
don't,
persuaded.
I don't disagree.
Oh, and if she has good game and she's like,
Yeah,
hey, I think you know Sarah. You know Sarah, right? And
yeah,
you're just, oh yeah, I went to college with her. And then she's, oh my God, come here. I gotta show you this one thing. And she has this template she uses. I mean, she could get you to do anything. And that's the same thing as when you're vulnerable to certain messaging and they know the exact formula to use.
yeah.
And part of the purpose of my channel is just simply bringing awareness. I'm not one to silence. I don't look at these people like they need to get put in jail or anything. I'm not here, even the people I don't care for, I'm not about like pointing the finger and tar and feathering. It's just simply, hey guys, watch this video. I'm going to show you exactly how they break down the webinar so that when you go through a webinar, you know what tactics they're using. If you find at the end that you want to buy, cool. Same thing with marketing. Here's what they're doing. If you like them, then by all means follow them. But I just want you to be aware. And when I analyze these gurus and I say, hey, look, you can follow Dan Locke, but I looked into his background and nothing's checking. There's so many inconsistencies. Nothing's making sense. Just question him. That's all. You can still follow him. That's your prerogative. I don't care. I'm not going to control you, but just question. That's all.
Did you watch those CoffeeZilla videos where he interviews the previous students of Dan Locke?
I have. Yep.
Were brutal. The upsells and
Pretty sad, isn't it? At no point is there like a hold on. You're not having success at this level. Let's correct that first. It's all just upsell, upsell, upsell. See, this is where they make their real money. They don't really make that much money on the, some of them will do like a $97 info product or $47 or a book where you pay for the shipping, all this stuff. Those are all break even. Where they make the money is when they can get you into the $1,000 course or the $2,000 course. And then, 5% of those people pay for 20,000 coaching or something that he charges. I mean, it's just insane. I got to give it to him. If it's in terms of pure profit, I bet Dan Locke's killing it. I bet he makes so much money. I'm not doubting that at all.
no, I don't doubt it, but like honestly, it feels criminal. Like I think if somebody was really watching this, like, and I don't know why anybody is it because the internet is still like
It's not big enough.
Yeah, it's not big enough, but it's
You want to know what scares you?
huge.
Dude,
Yeah,
there are scams. There are scams big enough where Dan Locke is irrelevant. Think of that.
yeah, you're right. Damn, yeah. I guess this is like the space we're more in, so it
Right.
feels
It's
big, but
it's more important to us. But then you start realizing that there's scams out there that get. Dude, there's a video I want to make that a news article I came across, and there were this couple in like Phoenix, Arizona, or somewhere, and they were on dating apps, and they made $6 million scamming people, claiming they're like the typical, I'm a young college girl who's struggling, I just broke my leg, and I need some medical bill help. $6 million. $6 million. And that's just a news story. Dude, once you start realizing, like once you open your eyes and you start, and what I want to instill in the audience that I have, is just simply question everything. Question me, right? Question me. If something doesn't make sense, question me. Question everybody you follow, especially on social media. If someone starts making income claims, question it. If someone starts talking about all the successful businesses they ran but never mentions names, question them. And that's what I want to start doing. It's just when you start seeing stuff that doesn't quite add up or make sense, or someone you don't feel like they're transparent, question them. That's it. Whenever you question people, they'll either respond with a very simple answer, or they'll get defensive. It's very easy to see which one is hiding something.
for sure, the incentive of being dishonest just seems so high because if you're trying to build an honest business, I guess like if you're trying to build a fully honest business with like a tint of dishonesty, you could probably jump ahead versus like you have no more morals and you're a sociopath. Like you could like, if I decided today that I'm an expert in this thing and I wanted to sell stuff, like I'm pretty confident I could sell it. And I'm very, very more confident that you could make a killing doing that too, because you also know about it. But then it's like the incentive to be good is that you have to sleep at the end of the night? Because I think these people are all sleeping like fine. So like, what would you tell the audience that are like tempted by the dark side? Like, what's the like? How do
You can't do it.
yeah, okay.
Understand that the people doing this are a very, very small minority. Within them, they are seeing what they're doing as correct. There's nothing they're doing wrong because they put out some products, people are buying it, and they show up to their seminars, and they're giving reviews, and they're showing up to their Facebook group. So in their eyes, they're offering so much value. And to be fair, they probably do have some success stories. There's probably some people that signed up for a guru course and they succeeded. And so in their eyes, the people either succeed or they don't work hard. And so they don't believe what they're doing is wrong. And no one's telling them the way that they market is unethical because they got in and they saw someone over here doing it. And so, yeah, I'll do it too. And within them, they don't have the wiring that we do in our brain to tell us, hold on, this doesn't feel right. I don't like, I think that person just gave me their last $1,000. I don't know if I should take it. Right? That's why we can't succeed doing this. I would be the worst internet marketer of all time because I just can't, there's not a bone in my body that would want to embellish the truth or try to manipulate people into buying something that they shouldn't be. And you probably are the same way. Most people are that way. And that's why the following is happening with CoffeeZilla and myself is because all these people are going, yeah, you know what? I don't like this. I mean, you should see some of my comments, man. A lot of people who follow me hate these people, like animosity.
I think the issues with these things is like, it's not, they are guaranteeing you to make money essentially. Whereas like honorable courses will like teach you the actual, a more specific skill.
Think of Udemy. It's, hey, $10, you can learn CSS, $10, sign up. Here's your 3 modules and call it a day. That's it.
I mean,
no, you're absolutely right. The webinar I critiqued recently of Ariella and Wesley Virgin, I mean, she's using claims like, oh, this literally prints you money. It's done for you. You don't have to do any work and it prints you money. You can't say these things, but you can in the internet marketing world. I mean, literally think about it. If a real estate agent had someone walk in the house and said, you know, if you buy this house, I can guarantee you'll be able to print money with how much the house appreciates. You would have so many fines. You absolutely cannot say that.
Yeah.
If you're a financial analyst, my dad's a financial advisor, a successful one with Morgan Stanley, been in the business for 30 years.
Nice.
He absolutely cannot guarantee returns. He can't have a client walk in and say, hey, you know, we'll get you in Tesla and we'll guarantee that you make 10 grand. Oh my gosh. Within an hour, Morgan Stanley would be on him.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, I guess it's just like, if people just need to be more educated or like, I don't know how to like fix this. Cause I feel like
there is no fixing it. Yeah. You want a little touch of reality. There's no fixing it until a regulatory body with power steps in.
But again, I guess like what I know we were saying that, you know, they're way bigger fish to like go after, but I feel like this is a growing fish because people are online. I don't see like the poor or middle class being more successful in the direction we're going. So this is only going to expand. And like,
now I will say the one thing that could happen is if CoffeeZilla, he'll probably beat me to it, but let's say he gets to like 1 million subscribers. When you start getting a real voice and you start calling people out, there will be moments where the guru will have to go on and debate him, or else they will look like a complete fraud. Because now I have 33,000. I'm a nobody, right? I mean, sure, I've got like a little audience. People watch my videos. But if I come out and make a video showing all the unethical things you're doing, hey, over here you said you did this. Over here you said you did that. You're clearly lying, right? If you don't come on my show, everyone will know that you're a fraud. That's when changes could happen. Now, I'm not saying it will. I don't know. These people, you know, my only hope is that CoffeeZilla and myself can start making enough money where we can handle lawsuits. Because if you get big enough, you're going to get pressure.
That's an ethical way to make money there. Make that pay-per-view. I would watch the shit out of that.
That's pretty cool. That's a cool idea.
Right? No, seriously, like this is like, there's no sports. Like me watching CoffeeZilla debate somebody or you debate me gives like 90% that feeling, if not 100%, depending on my opinion.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Yep. So we'll pay for your legal fees that way.
That's a great idea. Yeah, as a fund. So the thing, I hope I become a big real estate investor. That's the plan. I think it's going to happen. And so I think my credibility will go up as well as I critique these business gurus. If I am running a very successful business on the side, that will only help go, okay, he actually knows what he's talking about. It's like Mike Winnett. If you follow him, Mike Winnett.
No.
Okay. He's over in the UK and he does this. He calls people out. He actually ran a successful business and it sold for 11 or $12 million.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot more credibility with him, right?
Yeah.
He's like, this guy knows what he's talking about.
And I think that's why, like, you know, Gary Vee has critics, but he had like a very successful business that he's at least.
Yeah, it's hard to critique him. Yeah, and he's got proof.
Yeah, he's got proof. Exactly. Could you tell us a little bit more about your real estate business? Like, how are you doing? And like, what's the plan?
I just lost all my money.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So I was on the Bigger Pockets podcast recently, which is the
cool.
biggest real estate podcast. They got 540,000 subs on YouTube. And so I had flips up in Cincinnati. I live in Las Vegas, and I was flipping houses in Cincinnati. I had two that I'll save you the details, but basically it went really wrong. At one point I had 250,000 of equity amongst 5 properties. And within just a little bit of time that went down to 60. So I lost like 190 grand of equity, which sucks. But yeah, so I have an interesting setup, and you might not be familiar with this. So I do what's called house hacking. Have you heard of that term before?
On Bigger Pockets, on the 1 or 2 podcasts I listen to, yes.
Yeah. So I have a 7-bed house, 7-bed, 5-bath house where I rent the 6 rooms to roommates. So I not only live for free, but last month I cash flowed 1,200.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's my real estate portfolio now. It's just the single house. It's probably worth about 300. I owe 240. And so I've got about 60 grand of equity. What I'll be doing next is I've got a partner lined up in Cincinnati, and the way life is kind of working itself out, is going to be a really fruitful partnership. He's a stud. He's up there doing deals, doing flips. And so I'll hopefully do like a 50-50 partnership with him. Cool. I could see myself doing one deal at the end of this year, a deal being a flip. And then in 2021, maybe 4 to 8 on the small side. And then 2022, probably 20 or more.
I'm probably watching the same videos you are, listening to like some similar podcasts. And I see everybody, or at least half of the people that have built legitimate wealth, are in real estate. So this year, actually, I have been trying to buy a rental property, a condo, basically. That's all I can afford.
2 thumbs up.
Yeah. So I'm learning a little bit, and I've made 2 offers, and I live in Maryland in like a suburb, and I feel like I can never own a house because everything is going like 10%, 20% over the asking price. I don't even know, like, unless I move somewhere else, I probably have a better chance. But here it's like, I don't know what to do. Do you have any advice?
Yes. So here's the biggest, well, I hate the word mindset because it's so overused, but here's the big mindset switch that happens.
Okay.
So we are taught our whole lives to play by the bank's rules.
Yeah.
Right. Got to buy the house. It's worth 300. You pay around 300. You need 20% down, yada, yada, all that bogus crap. When you become an investor, you no longer play by the bank's rules. You play by your own rules. It's when you play by your own rules that you start to own real estate in a different manner. This is not some sales pitch. This is not some vague, I'm talking about is seller financing. How much do you think that shirt, your microphone in front of you, how much do you pay for it?
$45.
Oh, $45. All right. Let's say I wanted to buy it from you. I didn't have $45, but I could go to the bank. I could pay, $15 and the bank will loan $30, right? Well, turns out I actually don't have $15. I have $3. And so let's say you needed to sell that mic. You could put it on Facebook, go through the whole process of trying to sell it for $45. But I say, hey, look, I'll buy it to you from $45, right? It's going to be hard for you to find $45. I'll buy it to you for $45. I'm going to give you 3 today, and I'm going to pay you $50 a month for the next 20 years or, whatever the number is, right? Didn't have to deal with a bank. That's seller financing. You can do it with houses. You can do it with cars. You can do it with shirts. You can do it with microphones. You can do it with everything. And so that's how I buy. I don't deal with the bank. I don't have a bunch of cash. I don't want to play by the bank's rules. And so I bought my fourplex in Las Vegas doing what's called a seller carry. Seller carry is just what I explained to you. I bought a fourplex, which is 4 units, 4 income units. Mm-hmm. I bought it for $260,000. It was worth about $305 when I purchased, with only $20,000 down. And so if I went to the bank, I would have had to bring about $75,000, but I only had 20. And so I went to the seller, the current property owner, and I sold him on the idea of financing the property for me. Now he owned the property free and clear, no mortgage, but we worked out a deal where I paid him a little over $1,500 a month for a property that brought in $2,600 in gross revenue, $20,000 down. The house I live in, the 7-bed, 5-bath I detailed to you, I did what's called a lease purchase, which is where I go to the, I'm friends with the owner, but we had, it's rent to own. Rent to own is the thing. Yeah. So you don't have to play by the bank's rules is what I'm saying. So you might only have 10 grand down. It's going to be hard, or 10, however much cash you have. It's not easy, but there's someone out there that's willing to sell their house to you. And if you gave them 10 grand, they'd sell it to you and you'd be able to take over their payments. And you know, their payments are 1,200 and you put a tenant in for 1,500 and you've got a little cash flow.
For the house that you said you put 20 grand down and now you're doing $1,500 payments, ultimately, I guess compared to a mortgage on your end, is that equivalent or a little?
It is a mortgage. It's the same thing. Think about it like this. Through the banks, when you go get a house, you go get a mortgage through a lender, right? The lender's providing the mortgage to you. When you sell or finance, instead of paying a bank, you're paying the owner. That's it. Only difference. Your money routes to point B instead of point A. That's it.
Are you getting a better rate?
It's up to you. Now so I've already sold that property. That property was 6.5% interest rate, 6.5. At the time, I probably could have gotten around 6 had I gone through a bank.
Yeah.
So I gave him a little boost because of the fact that he was holding the note.
Yeah.
But it's up to you. So the key is finding, as an investor, the key is finding an owner that is what is called distressed. If you ever get distressed in anything, you'll understand what it's like to try and sell something when you're distressed. You want to get rid of it. And if some nice little guy comes up and is just like, hey, I've got a little cash. Let me take over the payments for you. Here's some cash down. I'll take over the property for you. Your headache's gone.
So I guess we talk a lot about success. Like, what is success to you personally?
Freedom and control of everything you want in your life. If you have control of your time, control of your energy, and control of how you spend your time, to me, that's success. No one else is controlling those for you.
Is there a figure you have in your head that would mean that?
Not at all. Nope. I care more about cash flow. I don't care about net worth at all. To me, that's irrelevant. That's just a dick measuring contest. Now, I do care in the sense that, I mean, sure, I love the sexy number of 10 million or 50 million or whatever. But to me, the cash flow is important. And I don't really know what I want in life. I don't think humans really know what they want in life. I want to think I want a Lamborghini or whatever, but maybe I get it and I hate it. And so I really don't know. Maybe I only need 5 grand to be happy. Maybe I only need 20 grand. But to me, I just pursue business, like more business. Like if I have, $2,000 a month now, I want 5,000 by the end of the year. If I'm doing 2 deals this year, I need to do 5 next year. That's it. So it's almost like steady progression to me. As long as you're steadily progressing.
Yeah.
That to me means more.
There are people that think they know what they want. Do you think
humans? It's been proven humans don't know. We don't know happiness. We don't know.
So
humans are so complex, man.
What about the people that think they do? Are they just misinformed or disillusioned?
Oh, it's just up to them. I mean, I'm not an all-knowing guy, but I can just resort to the data I've seen and the psychology reports that I've seen. I mean, the problem is success is also it's just an idea. It's a concept, right? So at one point, you walking up to a girl and getting her to smile at you is success. But once you go out enough, if your night is only met with one girl smiling at you, that is a failure. So it's the same action, but it's a different meaning or interpretation of the action. And so if you look at someone with 100 units as success, like right now, yeah, that's successful. But if Grant Cardone only had 100 units, he probably would commit suicide because of how depressed he'd be, right? So it's the same outcome, but it's just how you interpret it. And that's why it's the same thing with happiness. Happiness is a very fleeting emotion. And so it's like chasing a rabbit. So you chase this idea of happiness, but then we as humans experience what's called hedonic adaptation, where we become adapted immediately to our current situation. And so we chase this concept of, I need the car, I need the wife, or I need the life. And you get it, and you immediately become adapted to it. And so you aren't happy anymore. You need something else to get you happy. And that's why I don't chase it, because I know there's no point.
This is why I wanted to talk to you. I feel like you're pretty close to like enlightenment, man. Or like you have the ideas all there. Do you meditate?
I've been trying to recently. No, this is all coming just from books. Like I think the highest ROI on any books is psychology. Like read human psychology, like really understand people. When you understand people, your motivations, how you react, all this stuff, I just think it helps you understand the world a little better. And I'm by no means like a negative at all. I'm very positive. It's just I understand what humans like, human behavior. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm ranting. I don't know where I'm getting at.
Oh, no, man, it's great.
Maybe I'm all wrong. Maybe I'm just an idiot. Maybe I do need to chase something.
I don't think so. So I guess like we're closing in on an hour. So if you were to, which like some parting words you want for like your audience or people watching about life?
Become obsessed. Whatever you do.
Oh,
That's
like
it. Become
great.
obsessed. If it's the same, it's like when you meet someone.
Yeah.
Right. If you meet someone, they're like, yeah, I kind of like reading, or I kind of like movies. You're not really interested. But if you meet someone and says, there's only one thing I do right now, it's YouTube. That's all I do. All I do is YouTube. Oh, really? Tell me, right? It's way more interesting. It's the same thing with success. Like whatever your metric of success is, if you want to succeed or if you want to make a certain amount of money, it's just one thing. Focus. Like if I could give you two people, one person is dabbling in 4 things, going to seminars about mindset, or the other person is literally focusing on writing books. That's it. It's the only thing they do. There's no social life, writing books. Who are you going to bet on? It's an easy answer, right? So I tell people, become obsessed. Whatever it is, whatever you want to be. If you want to pick up women, if you want to become a business expert, if you want to be good on YouTube, you have to truly become obsessed.
That's really great advice. I feel like you've convinced me that I should probably quit YouTube and just focus on one other thing. So I will end it there. Thank you so
We got to end on a more positive note.
Okay, what's a more positive note? Oh, I wanted to like just end it and just chat with you a little bit more. But
yeah, we're gonna talk about how to take over the world. Sorry, you guys can't listen.
We're gonna try to decide who we're gonna fight and then organize this fight night. But it'll be good. It'll be really good, guys.
Good stuff. Well, thanks for having me on, man.
For sure, man.
Yo, Kanye West as well.
Kanye West is the same way, right?
Yeah, exactly the same way. That's why they're friends. That's why they like each other.